First Contact's facade. The Araxian surveillance vessel Eternal Dawn hung motionless in Earth's orbit, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight into prismatic patterns across the void. High Commander Vexthan stood at the observation deck, his iridescent scales shifting from deep blue to violet, a sign of profound satisfaction among his species. Primitive, yet fascinating, he murmured, watching the blue planet below. Earth's surface was a tapestry of lights and darkness, its civilization visible even from space. They've barely mastered nuclear fission, and their quantum understanding is. He paused, mandibles clicking in amusement, rudimentary at best. Lieutenant Miraleth approached, her data tendrils pulsing with information. High Commander, the humans have accepted our invitation for first contact. They're gathering their world leaders in a place called Geneva. Vexthan's scales rippled with pleasure. Another species to study, to guide, to supervise. The Araxian Confederation had done this countless times before, finding developing civilizations, sharing just enough technology to make them dependent, then slowly absorbing them into their empire. On Earth, Dr. Elena Reyes sat in her underground laboratory at CERN, scrutinizing the Araxian first contact message for the 100th time. Something about their quantum equations didn't add up. The aliens had demonstrated seemingly impossible technological feats, yet their mathematical framework appeared deliberately inefficient. Dr. Reyes, her assistant, James Morrison, called from across the lab. The military's here. They want your preliminary analysis before the Geneva meeting. Elena minimized her calculations as General Marcus Santos entered, his weathered face grave. Doctor, tell me you have something. Their technology. Elena began, choosing her words carefully. It's advanced, yes, but it's like they're showing us a car, while hiding the fusion reactor that powers their civilization. The equations they share are like someone deliberately writing with their non-dominant hand. The general's eyes narrowed. You think they're hiding something? I think, Elena replied, pulling up a simulation. They're underestimating us, and that might be the greatest advantage we could hope for. Above them, the Eternal Dawn's sensors recorded everything, but they missed the subtle changes in Earth's electromagnetic field, the tiny quantum fluctuations that shouldn't have been possible with humanity's current technology. They didn't notice when Elena's simple calculations were transmitted to hidden facilities around the globe, or when human quantum computers began processing data at speeds the Araxians believed impossible for such a young race. High Commander Vexthan prepared for humanity's grand welcome, unaware that every gesture, every word, every piece of technology they planned to showcase was being analyzed, dissected, and improved upon by thousands of human scientists working in secret. The game had begun, but the hunters hadn't realized they were being hunted. The Araxians believed they were writing humanity's future. They didn't understand that humans had already read the last page of their book, and were now writing their own story. The Silent Revolution. 3 years after first contact, the Araxian Confederation celebrated what they considered another successful integration. Humanity had eagerly absorbed their basic technology package, improved solar collection, rudimentary quantum communication, and simplified faster-than-light travel principles. Earth's cities now gleamed with crystalline towers built using Araxian materials, and their ships regularly traveled between Earth and Mars. Ambassador Kexthor stood proudly before the Confederation Council, his scales shimmering with pride. The humans progress exactly as predicted. They've implemented our technologies according to the standard development timeline. Their dependency on our guidance grows daily. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Elena Reyes had a very different perspective on human progress. She stood before a holographic display showing the quantum structure of an Araxian power core, or rather, what the Araxians claimed was their power core. Show me the efficiency comparison, she commanded. The AI system, far more advanced than anything the Araxians believed humans capable of developing, overlaid 2 energy matrices. The first showed the Araxian design. The second displayed humanity's improvement. James Morrison whistled low. "They're not going to like this, Alina." "They're not going to know about it," she replied, studying the patterns. "Not until we're ready." "How are the quantum displacement tests progressing?" James brought up another hologram, this one showing a series of successful experiments. "We can move objects up to the size of a small building instantly across planetary distances. No trace, no signal, no warning. The Araxians' own quantum theories helped us perfect it. After we fixed their deliberately inefficient equations, in high orbit, aboard the Araxian monitoring station Vigilant Eye, Lieutenant Merciless frowned at her readings. "Commander, I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations from the humans' lunar base." Commander Vex then dismissed her concerns with a wave of his primary hand. "Their mining operations often cause such anomalies. Their understanding of our technology is still rudimentary." "But sir," Merciless persisted, "these patterns don't match any known human industrial activity. They almost look like—" "Lieutenant," Vex then cut her off, "these are humans. They barely understood quantum mechanics before we arrived. Whatever they're doing, it's well within expected parameters." The commander's certainty was shared by most of the Confederation. They saw what they expected to see: a young species stumbling through their first steps into galactic society, dependent on Araxian guidance and technology. They didn't see the quantum computational networks running through Earth's core, processing power that exceeded the Confederation's by orders of magnitude. They missed the subtle signs of human ships performing maneuvers that should have been impossible with basic Araxian technology. They overlooked the fact that human scientists asked questions that probed just a little too deep, understood concepts just a little too quickly. In her underwater lab, Alina received a priority message from General Santos. "The Araxians are planning to gift us their next tier of technology next month. Apparently, we've been good students." Alina smiled, but there was no humor in it. How generous of them. "Should we show them our gratitude by revealing we surpassed that tier 2 years ago?" "Not yet," the general replied. "The quantum displacement system, ready for full implementation. We can move an entire space station if needed. No traces, no warning, just gone." "Good." The general's expression was grim. "Because intelligence just confirmed our suspicions about the Araxians' long-term plans for Earth. We're not the first species they've uplifted. We're just the first to see through their facade." Alina turned back to her quantum displays, watching humanity's true technological achievements dance across the screens. "Then perhaps it's time we taught them a lesson about underestimating their students." Above them, the Araxian ships continued their patrols, their crews confident in their superiority, unaware that humanity had already far surpassed them. They didn't realize that every piece of technology they'd shared had been a key to their own undoing, every equation a puzzle that humans had not only solved but improved upon. The silent revolution was almost complete. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity had never been meant to be anyone's subjects. They had always been destined to be the teachers, not the students. The hunter becomes the hunted. The Araxian outpost on Proxima Centauri V monitored Earth's first official interstellar colony with smug satisfaction. High Commander Vex then had personally chosen this location to observe humanity's stumbling attempts at establishing an off-world presence. The outpost's quantum sensors recorded every launch, every landing, every power fluctuation from the human settlement below. "Another routine day watching our primitive friends," Station Commander Ixel commented, his scales shifting to a relaxed green. "They've managed not to blow themselves up for almost a week." The human settlement sprawled across the rocky plains, a collection of habitation domes and research facilities that seemed to struggle with even basic environmental controls. The Araxians had lost count of how many times they'd had to assist with failing life support systems or power fluctuations. At exactly 300 Earth Standard Time, every system in the human colony suddenly shut down. The Araxian outpost's sensors recorded a complete power failure, followed by what appeared to be a desperate distress signal. "How predictable," Ixel sighed. Dispatch the emergency response team. Let's save our pets again. The response team never made it to their ships. At 3:01, a quantum surge unlike anything in Confederation records erupted from the human colony. Before the Araxians could even sound an alarm, their entire outpost experienced what they would later call the impossible. In her underwater command center on Earth, Dr. Elena Reyes watched the holographic display with fierce satisfaction. Quantum displacement successful. The Araxian outpost has been relocated. Where did you send them? General Santos asked, his voice tight with anticipation. To a very comfortable orbit around Saturn, Elena replied. Don't worry, their life support is perfectly intact. We're not monsters after all. We just wanted to demonstrate that we could. The Araxian High Council convened an emergency session within the hour. Their most sophisticated tracking systems had registered nothing. No warning, no energy signature they recognized, just the instantaneous disappearance and reappearance of an entire space station. Ambassador Kexthor's scales had turned ash-gray. Impossible. Their quantum understanding is basic. We've monitored every aspect of their development. They couldn't have. His words were cut short as every quantum communication device in the council chamber activated simultaneously. Dr. Elena Reyes' hologram appeared in the center of the room, her expression calm but unyielding. Honorable members of the Araxian Confederation, she began, her voice carrying an edge of steel beneath its politeness. We appreciate the education you've provided over the last 3 years. However, we feel it's time to correct some misconceptions about human capabilities. With a gesture, she brought up displays showing human quantum technology far beyond anything the Araxians had shared. You see, while you were teaching us your simplified versions of quantum mechanics, we were solving the real equations. While you watched us struggle with basic power systems, we were perfecting zero-point energy extraction. While you monitored our clumsy attempts at faster-than-light travel, we were mastering instant quantum displacement of objects of any size. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Security teams rushed to protect the council members, only to freeze as their weapons disappeared from their hands, reappearing neatly stacked on a table before Elena's hologram. Don't be alarmed, she continued, as if she hadn't just casually demonstrated technology that should have been impossible. We have no hostile intentions. We simply believe it's time for a more equal relationship between our species. High Commander Vex then, hastily summoned to the chamber, felt his world shifting beneath his feet. The other colonies we've uplifted, you couldn't have. We've already contacted them, Elena confirmed. Shared the corrections to your equations. They're quite eager to renegotiate their relationships with the Confederation. The humans had done in 3 years what no species had managed in millennia. They had not only seen through the Araxians' deception, but had surpassed their teachers in every way. And they had done it so quietly, so completely that their supposed supervisors hadn't noticed until it was far too late. As the council stared in stunned silence at the evidence of human advancement, Elena's hologram smiled. Now shall we discuss the terms of our new partnership? As equals this time. The hunter had indeed become the hunted, but humanity's hunt had never been for conquest, only for the truth and the right to determine their own destiny. Exodus of fear. Panic spread through the Araxian Confederation like a quantum wave collapse. Within days of humanity's demonstration, half their monitoring stations had voluntarily evacuated their posts. Ships meant to supervise human colonies now fled at the slightest sign of human vessels approaching. The great Araxian Empire, which had manipulated countless species over millennia, found itself running from the creatures they had thought to control. On the Confederation capital world of Araxis Prime, Ambassador Kexthor watched the latest reports with trembling hands. Another luxury resort planet, abandoned. 3 more trading outposts, evacuated. 6 diplomatic stations, completely deserted, not from human aggression, but from mere human presence. They're everywhere, Lieutenant Miraleth whispered, her scales pale with fear. Our long-range sensors detect their quantum signatures in systems we thought were secret. They appear and disappear at will. How can we fight an enemy that treats space itself as a doorway? High Commander Vex then, once so confident in Araxian superiority, now spent his days in emergency council sessions. "We're detecting human quantum signatures in the Carina sector," a scout reported. "But when we investigated, we found nothing. Then they appeared in the Perseus arm, then the outer rim. They're toying with us." What terrified the Araxians most wasn't human aggression, it was human restraint. Despite possessing technology that could instantly transport entire battle fleets across the galaxy, humanity hadn't launched a single attack. They simply watched, appeared, and disappeared. Let the Araxians know they were there, then vanished before anyone could respond. In her new office aboard the International Space Station, Dr. Elena Reyes reviewed the latest reports with a mixture of amusement and concern. "They're evacuating faster than we anticipated," she told General Santos. "At this rate, they'll abandon their core worlds within a month." "Is that what we wanted?" the general asked, watching a holographic display of retreating Araxian ships. "Not exactly," Elena admitted. "We needed to shock them out of their complacency, yes. But this level of panic." She gestured at another display, showing the collapse of Araxian trading networks. "They're destroying themselves faster than we ever could." James Morrison entered the office, his expression urgent. "Dr. Rice, we're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations from the Araxian homeworld, not their usual signatures." Elena's eyes narrowed as she studied the data. "These patterns, they're similar to what we detected at the edge of charted space, the ones we've been tracking for the past year. The reason we accelerated our technology development in the first place," General Santos added grimly. The truth was, humanity's rapid advancement hadn't been driven solely by the desire to overcome Araxian control. During their first year of quantum research, Earth's scientists had detected something disturbing. Massive quantum disturbances at the galaxy's edge, moving steadily inward, something that made humanity's achievements look primitive by comparison. Something that the Araxians, in their complacency, hadn't even noticed. "We need to stop their exodus," Elena declared. "The Araxians don't realize it, but their empire forms a buffer zone between Earth and whatever's coming from deep space, if they abandon their territories." She didn't need to finish the thought. The quantum disruptions they detected suggested a force far beyond anything humanity or the Araxians could handle alone. Earth needed allies, not refugees. "How do we convince an empire that's terrified of us to stay and fight alongside us?" James asked. Elena's expression hardened with determination. "We show them why we really developed quantum displacement technology. We show them what's coming. And then we show them that humanity's greatest achievement isn't our technology. It's our ability to face impossible odds and still find a way to win." As if to emphasize her words, the quantum sensors blared a warning. The disturbances at the galaxy's edge had accelerated. Whatever was coming, it would arrive sooner than anyone had predicted. The game of hunter and hunted was about to change dramatically. And this time, both humanity and the Araxians would need to learn to be something else entirely. Survivors. The New Order. The Great Hall of the Araxian High Council had never hosted another species until today. Dr. Elena Reyes stood before the assembled council, her hologram projected alongside real-time quantum scans of the galaxy's outer rim. The data painted a terrifying picture. "We call them the Void Dancers," Elena explained, displaying images of massive quantum distortions that bent space itself. "They don't travel through space, they reshape it. Every system they touch simply ceases to exist. Not destroyed, not conquered. The matter, energy, even space-time itself gets rewritten into something our universe's laws of physics can't comprehend." High Commander Vexthen's scales had turned pure white, a sign of absolute terror in his species. "How long have you known?" "We detected them during our first quantum experiments," Elena replied. "It's why we pushed ourselves so hard to advance. Why we took your technology and improved it so quickly. We needed to be ready." Ambassador Kexthor, his former arrogance replaced by dawning understanding, leaned forward. You weren't developing weapons to fight us. You were preparing to save you, Elena completed. Your Empire's territory forms a crucial buffer zone between Earth and the Void Dancer's approach vector. If you abandon your worlds, if you keep running, she let the implications hang in the air. The quantum sensors suddenly blazed with activity. James Morrison's voice cut through the chamber. Doctor, they've accelerated again. New estimated arrival. 3 months, not 6. The council chamber erupted in panicked discussions until Elena's voice cut through the chaos. We have a plan, but it will only work if we cooperate. As equals this time. She gestured, and a complex quantum matrix appeared in the air. This is how we win. Not by running, not by fighting, but by doing something they can't comprehend. Working together. Over the next 2 hours, Elena laid out humanity's strategy. It was audacious, impossible, and exactly the kind of thing that had made humans such terrifying students. You want to create a quantum network linking every star system in the Confederation, Vex then stated, his voice mixing disbelief with growing hope. Turn the entire galaxy into one massive quantum computer, using your Empire's scope and our improved quantum technology. Elena confirmed, we can't fight them conventionally. They don't play by our universe's rules. But if we can compute faster, then they can rewrite reality. 1 month later, the combined fleets of humanity and the Araxian Confederation worked side by side, installing quantum resonators around every star in their territory. Ships that had once flowed from each other now coordinated with precise efficiency. The hunters and the hunted had become something new. Partners. The Void Dancers arrived early, their reality warping powers turning the outer systems into incomprehensible geometries. But they encountered something unprecedented. An entire sector of space that thought and calculated as one. Every attempt to rewrite physics was met with countermeasures computed faster than light itself. In her command center on Earth, Elena watched as the quantum network proved her theories correct. The Void Dancers, for the first time in their existence, were forced to retreat from a reality that refused to be rewritten. No, Elena corrected, sharing a knowing look with Ambassador Kexthor. They're learning what every species in this galaxy needs to understand. The universe isn't shaped by who's strongest, but by who's willing to adapt, to cooperate, to see beyond their own limitations. The Araxian Empire transformed in the aftermath. The species they had once subjugated became partners in the galaxy-wide quantum network. Their civilization, built on control and superiority, evolved into one of collaboration and mutual growth. And humanity. They became known not as conquerors or victims, but as the species that had seen the truth. In a universe full of hunters and hunted, the only way to truly survive was to become something greater than both. High Commander Vex then, standing beside Elena on the observation deck of Earth's new quantum defense platform, watched ships from 100 worlds moving through space. You could have destroyed us, he said quietly. When you first discovered our deception, you could have used our own technology against us. Elena smiled, watching a group of human and Araxian scientists excitedly discussing improvements to the quantum network. That's what you would have done. But humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to destroy or dominate. It's our ability to imagine something better and make it real. Above them, the quantum network hummed with the combined knowledge and creativity of 1,000 civilizations, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. The age of hunter and hunted was over. The age of unity had begun.